Before the arrival of Europeans in 1494, Jamaica was a lush, vibrant world inhabited by a people whose history is often oversimplified. We usually call them the Taino, but they weren't the first. Long before them, a mysterious group known as the Redware people, or the Archaeas or early Osteanoid, carved out a life on the island. This is their story: how they looked, how they lived, and how they eventually became the people we know today. Phase 1. The Redware Pioneers, approximately 600 AD. Around 1400 years ago, the first major wave of agriculturalists arrived in Jamaica from South America. We call them the Redware people because of the distinct, thin-walled pottery they left behind, often coated in a vibrant red slip. Physical appearance. These early pioneers had deep copper-toned skin and straight, coarse black hair. They were generally short to medium in stature, with athletic, lean builds from a life of constant maritime navigation. Way of life. They were the island's first true farmers. While they relied heavily on the sea for fish and shellfish, they introduced the cultivation of cassava and sweet potatoes to Jamaican soil. The settlements. Unlike later groups who lived in large inland villages, the Redware people preferred the coast. They lived in small, peaceful clusters near the shore, utilizing the island's natural harbors for their dugout canoes. Phase 2. The rise of the Taino, approximately 900 AD through 1492 AD. By 900 AD, a second, more dominant cultural wave arrived. This was the classic Taino civilization. They didn't necessarily conquer the Redware people. Instead, they likely absorbed them through marriage and shared resources, creating a unified Jamaican culture. The look of a Taino. The Taino were striking in appearance. They had olive to copper skin and wide, high cheekbones. Cranial deformation. One of their most distinct features was a flattened forehead. As infants, their heads were bound between boards to flatten the frontal bone. To them, this was a mark of beauty and nobility. It also made the skull thicker, which they believed provided protection in combat. Adornment. They didn't wear much clothing due to the tropical heat, but they were masters of body tech. They painted their skin with bixa, a red dye from the anato plant, to protect against sun and insects. They wore jewelry made of polished stone, bone, and seashells, and the chiefs, or caciques, wore elaborate feathered headdresses and gold pendants called guanin. Phase 3. Culture and beliefs. The Taino way of life was centered on the semi. These were physical idols made of wood, stone, or cotton that housed the spirits of ancestors and gods. Daily life. They lived in large circular houses called bohíos, built from palm thatch and wood. In the center of the village was a flat plaza used for the batu, a ceremonial ball game played with a rubber-like ball where players couldn't use their hands or feet, only their hips and elbows. Diet. They were the masters of the barbacoa, the origin of the word barbecue. They slow-cooked meat and fish over raised wooden grates, seasoning them with local peppers and herbs. A lasting legacy. By the time the Spanish arrived, there was an estimated 60,000 to 100,000 Taino in Jamaica. Though war and disease decimated their numbers, their DNA and culture never truly vanished. When you eat jerk, derived from Taino cooking, sit in a hammock, a Taino invention, or even say the name of the island, Xaymaca, the land of wood and water, you are speaking their language. The Redware and the Taino weren't just primitive people, they were the architects of the Caribbean spirit. It is actually incredible how much of the Taino language survived through Spanish and English. Their culture didn't just disappear, it's in our mouths every day. Here are a few words that are still being used today. Food and cooking. Barbecue, barbacoa. This was a wooden grate used by the Taino to slow roast meat over a fire. This is the direct ancestor of Jamaican jerk. Maize, maíz, the word for corn. Potato, batata. This specifically referred to the sweet potato. Guava, guayaba, a fruit native to the islands. Kasabi, their staple bread, which we still eat as bami in Jamaica today. Nature and environment. Hurricane, huracan, named after Judacan, the Taino god of stormy weather and destruction. Canoe, canoa. The Taino were master navigators. Their dugout canoes were so impressive that Columbus noted they could hold up to 150 people. Savanna, sabana, a word used to describe the flat, grassy plains of the islands. Mangrove, mangle, the thick coastal trees that protect the shoreline. Tobacco, tabaco. The Taino smoked dry leaves in Y-shaped pipes called tabacos. Home and lifestyle. Hammock, hama, their greatest invention. The Spanish sailors loved them because they kept soldiers off the damp, buggy ground. Iguana, iguana, the original name for the large lizards found across the Caribbean. Manatee, manatee, the sea cows found in the coastal waters of Jamaica. The name of the island, Xaymaca, the most important one. It literally means land of wood and water, or sometimes interpreted as land of springs. It was the Taino name for the island long before the Spanish arrived.